Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for another conversation. Today, we're going to be talking with another franchisee and franchisor, this time from Sylvan Learning. As we continue to close out the week, the good news is it seems like moods are swinging in a positive direction. That could either be because we are losing our minds because we're stuck in the house for significant amounts of time, and we don't know any more details of when this is going to end or not. But the good news is we're starting to see positivity come from those who are joining us. Tonight, that's going to be much of the same, judging by what happens before we even punch live. So Susan and Sarah, thank you so much for spending some of your Friday, or I should just say day, because they're all the same day now. Thank you for spending your day with us. So Susan, I'm going to start with you. Just generally speaking, how are you doing? How's business going? How are franchisee support going? And you're obviously in an operations role, so I would love just some baseline information on how you're navigating the days.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's a little different, just like everyone. I think we're all experiencing new things every day that are unprecedented. But I'm very proud of how our company and our franchisees have served their communities in ways that reflect the true nature of our brand. We're about serving kids. We're about being persistent and hardworking and innovative. And that has played out really strongly in this situation. And so we see a huge need. If anything, the demand and the need for our services has grown during this time. Children's education has been profoundly disrupted. And our franchisees and our teachers and our teams are making it known to families that we're here for them. And so I'm really proud of that. And that sums up what we've been working on the last couple of weeks.
Love it. And Sarah, same to you. Obviously, how's business going? What are you seeing as a franchise owner within the system?
Yeah, I would say similarly to Susan, I just start by saying how proud I am of my team. We have 11 centers across the state of Indiana, and I have 150 to 200 employees, 35 full-time employees, and they have been amazing and stepped up in this time. We've all walked through the chaos together. We've all seen it impact us personally and professionally. And what my team has done is put the kids first and put the needs of our families and these children during the time first, from sacrificing, their schedules that had them doing all the things to now sitting and, teaching all day, every day, because that's what they love to do. And that's what these kids need. So I think I would say we're doing well. We've pivoted very quickly, to Susan's point. We turned around a company that had been 40 years in person. In 48 hours, we turned around and we were live and online with a good majority of our student body. I'm proud of our families who have continued to commit to education and the importance of education. And again, I'm proud of my staff and my teachers who have just continued to step up and provide a high quality product to our families in this most important time of need. So we're doing well, we're making it happen, and we're going to keep making it happen.
Love it.
Sarah, Susan, there's so many positive things there. Sarah, you're in a unique position. You have over 150 employees, multiple outlets, right? As we shift and the economy shifts, there's going to be so many franchisees or new franchisees entering the marketplace, people that are fed up personally or emotionally. And look, you're one of the few franchisees who've succeeded at a high level. Could you talk about that journey from when you started to success today? I mean, 200 employees is a big accomplishment.
Yeah. So, well, first and foremost, I have a great partner, my business partner, Kent Coble. I wouldn't be here today without him. Actually, I started in my journey as just one of his directors. He brought me on board, and I had the chance to learn the business under his leadership. And he showed me not only how to be a Sylvan director, but how to be a Sylvan leader. And so over the past few years, as we grew from 2 centers to 11 centers, I had the chance to move into this role from director to executive director, and then all the way to franchisee. So it's been a really incredible journey, but wouldn't have been possible without my business partner and just the guidance and leadership that he's given me as I've grown to learn and understand Sylvan.
Sarah, one thing that you just touched on was the ability of a 40-plus-year-old brand to be able to pivot in real time. Susan, I'm just curious. So obviously, like, the transformation went so fast, and call it like it's the thing that's always on the checklist. Like, how do we continue to evolve to be a virtual business? But now, as schools start talking about potential disruption into the fall, is this also accelerating long-term plans? And then secondly, I know for our family, we have 2 young boys. One is 5 and one is going to be 8. The reality is their school is completely disrupted, and the school has now handed off the responsibilities to the parents to now be the educators, which is very complex when the parents also have jobs. So when I think about a Sylvan, like, you guys you're perfectly positioned, but also, like, it's a very chaotic time. Like, are you guys starting to think about short sprints to also have a point of view should schools not go back the way that we expect them to in the fall?
Oh, we absolutely have. Yes. So I'd say a couple of things that sort of inadvertently, obviously no one knew this was going to happen, but what sort of prepared us for this in a better way than most companies is that we've made some massive investments in the last 3 years into systems that made it so much easier and so much faster for us to pivot that quickly. So we have all of our digitized curriculum, and it's adaptive. It's already digital. We don't use the old pen and paper system. We haven't for a decade. We took last year, and through a lot of investment and a lot of work on the part of the franchisees and the corporate team, we updated our CRM system. And so we have something that is new, that is upgraded, that's the latest and greatest, and that can be managed from anywhere. And so that takes a franchisee's business to the cloud, and it allows them to do all kinds of work for their customers wherever they are. And then we started the first quarter of this year, just as this thing was happening and closures were starting, we were wrapping up the final project that was on part of this 3-part investment. And it was our education administration system that also moved to the cloud, and it allows that adaptive curriculum to be accessed from anywhere, and it allows our teachers to get the latest and greatest lesson plans and do alignments to schoolwork and really just serve our customer, the child, really, really well. And so I think having that as a solid foundation to start with put us in a position to where we are today. We're literally over a weekend. I'll never forget that weekend. It was March 9th when the closures were about to begin. That week, our team had a planning meeting just about every day, and we had it done by the following Monday. Over a weekend, we stood up virtual learning. And it's the same method and the same approach, and hopefully with the same pace that we'll be able to respond to schools. We're now having conversations with schools. I've had a call with a district or a state agency just about every day this week, and they're looking for trusted partners that can respond quickly and that have proven standards, proven methods, and proven curriculums. And we're just in a great spot. To me, there's just nothing but opportunity. I know we're going to be okay because of all of that.
Susan, it's interesting how, an event that's not planned for turns into opportunity.
Yeah.
And look, we can't even understand the full impact of this, but when you said earlier that education has been profoundly disrupted, it has. Yeah. I mean, and part of that profound disruption is we don't even know what it's going to look like 6 months from now. Yeah. And the silver lining in all of the stories and conversations we're having is where smart franchisors actually have new opportunities in different verticals or different extensions of their products, which I find to be an amazing thing. Susan, as an organization, right, because there's other franchisors that are listening to this, and then there's franchisees that want to know what makes a good franchisor. And I know there's fluffy stuff out there. But in terms of your internal team, as you look at the technology rollouts over the past couple of years, as you look at how your teams responded, and I know everyone's going to say they responded well, but Sylvan has, what are some of the internal dynamics, whether it's culture or team philosophy that you guys have leaned in on?
Yeah. So, we have this team motto internally that that tough times don't last, tough teams do, and that sort of says it all for us. So I used to be a franchisee at Sylvan. I was a franchisee for 15 years before taking this role, and everyone on the operations team and many people throughout the organization have been in centers, and so having the experience of sort of having walked in the shoes of an owner and knowing the sacrifices and the hard work that happens with a small business, and how important that livelihood is, and having that personal connection with that, I think is what grounds a lot of our decisions. And my team, they're made up of people who have owned businesses, who have worked in the centers, who have been directors, just like Sarah. And you know, we stay with a company. I think we have such longevity and such tenure on this team because it's a mission-driven organization, and it's all about the students, and it's all about making that small business owner a success through serving that student well. And that's what grounds us. I think that's what drives all of us, and it definitely defines our culture. I very much have drank the Kool-Aid. We have a brand promise to our customers, and it's much more than a marketing tool and a tagline. It is how we live and breathe every day and how we make decisions.
If I could just, Susan, I love all of that, because you can't fake that. I don't know if it's a new motto or if something you guys have used for a while, but tough times don't last, tough teams do. Is that something new, or has this been like a motto for a while?
You know, we used it in an internal video recently to keep everyone's spirits up and to show the work and the progress that happened in just a matter of a couple of weeks. And it just has stuck. I think all of us know that it's going to take a lot of hard work, but we're resilient. You know, in Sylvan, I've lived through a recession as a small business owner. And I think here's the other thing. We're a very resilient nation. And I'm very proud of the fact that we have policymakers taking action, like all the right ingredients are happening. So in addition to what we can control internally, the external environment is working for us as well. So we're very optimistic.
Sarah, I wanna swing this question over to you, because I listened to you talk about how proud you are of the business, you're proud of your employees. And for business owners, with all the chaos that we're facing as human beings, strictly on a health standpoint, forget about what's happening from a business standpoint, it gives us all the permission in the world to go hide under a rock. Yet I'm seeing like happiness and proudness that's coming from you. So one thing that we discussed earlier this week is that the definition of currency could be changing in real time. That yes, we are very excited when we're making a lot of money as a business owner, but almost now, like the currency of what's in the heart and feeling good and supported and structure is elevating to the top. Do you feel like, as you try to find or define what happiness equals for you as a franchisee, that yes, the financial side is still important, but because we have taken some of a beating, every business has, that you're finding more value in like the common good that's inside you that you can't really touch from a currency standpoint?
Yeah, and the great thing is that's been the journey we've been on. That's who we are as a company. That's who I am as a leader, just even before this chaotic event occurred. And that's what's allowed us to stand strong through this. I would tell you, we've defined 2.5 years ago, when we became 11 centers, we sat down and we defined our values and our mission statement. And number one, we stand behind is, for the success of every child, alongside what Sylvan believes in. Our 11 Center says, at the end of every staff meeting, we do this for the success of every child. And so for us, yes, are we a business? You better believe we're a business, and we want to be the best educational tutoring business out there. And everything we're going to do is driving us toward that. But we're a business that stands behind what we do because we believe strongly in the good of what we're doing and the impact that we can have on so many lives. And so in this season of chaos, what is our happiness? We've already been building into that. We've already been building into, we can let chaos overcome us. And believe us, we've all had really hard days. We've all had those moments where our job today, I literally just got off the phone with a team member who said to me, my job today is not what my job was 6 weeks ago. We're all in that. But what came out of that is her job today still is spending time in front of these kids whose lives are being dramatically changed. And in an interesting way, we're given an opportunity to get to know these kids, not just coming in our doors, but now we're going into their lives, into their homes, and we get to see the family dynamic and what could impact how they're learning. And so now we've gotten this blessing in disguise of being able to better meet the needs of these children as we better understand their lives. And so instead of looking at it as chaos has ruined our business, chaos has brought us down, yeah, do we all want to curl up in a fetal position at some point in the last 6 weeks? You better believe it. But that's not what we get to do as leaders, because our mission is not just to make money. If that's what we did, we'd be in a different business. Our mission is to serve children and serve families. And especially now, I can't tell you how, again, proud I am to be in a business and with a company of people that are behind me that say, we're making the personal sacrifices. And we are, believe me, and the hours we're putting in, the financial impact we've had, but we're making the personal sacrifices because we know it's worth it at a time that these kids need us most. We're here and we're going to continue to be here. We're not going anywhere and we won't go anywhere. And whatever happens in the future, we're going to continue to pivot to figure out how we can support the need. I made a call yesterday and said, hey, I know we can help you. Tell me, to a local community organization, I know we can help you. How can I help you? Help me understand that better. That's what we're here for.
I love the integration of core values. Sarah, how much of your core values are reflected in direction or core values that you guys see from the franchisor?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Susan and I, one of the greatest things that I have in support of our franchisor is that Susan and I text back and forth book recommendations and, things that, because we have the same core values and beliefs. So she'll say to me, hey, this is one that I took to my team and can apply, and I think it'd be great for you. And our core values are, they're so intertwined. What we believe is what they believe, and how we drive is how they drive. And so it couldn't go as successfully if we were different, if we were going different directions. But because the things they prioritize are the things we prioritize. I was on a meeting yesterday and the conversations came straight from our CEO, John McAuliffe. What is the next thing we need to prioritize? What are you hearing and seeing in the community? Because we want to value what these families need and understand what these families need. That's a core value. That's a core belief. We believe in what these families need is what we need to do to drive our business. And so it's so intertwined, and I don't think we could be as successful if we weren't as intertwined as we are.
I believe there's going to be a profound disruption, which I think is a great term, in also the franchisor and franchisee relationship. I mean, we're talking with a brand right now that is a multi-hundred unit system, yet you have the CEO saying, we value what's going on in your communities, who doesn't have the ego to say, I know everything that's happening in every market. You have an executive who is texting franchisees that is not just, hey, go operate your business. It's like, let's actually have a personal relationship that, if anything, and Susan, I would love from your point of view, because you've obviously seen various stages of this company. There's something on the other side of this, and hopefully us as humans, if this doesn't show us that life is delicate, that life is short, that life is risky, and that you should find happiness in whatever you do, that forget about these lines that are drawn in the sand between franchisor and franchisee. It's so much deeper than that. Does this only I know that it's chaotic, but can you pause and reflect and say, wow, I landed in the right place, and I'm with the right people? What's going on through your head from personal currency standpoint?
Yeah. I think this time it just reinforces the culture that I think it starts at the top. Our CEO, we're a very accessible group. There's not a huge separation between the corporate team and the franchise system, or the directors for that matter. I mean, we speak to customers. I observed instruction yesterday. We speak to franchisees all day, every day. We are listening to make sure that we understand not only the pulse of what's going on in those communities, but at the end of the day, we're united, and nothing, what happened here doesn't change that. We do very meaningful work. And that makes us very lucky as a company. It's hard not to get behind and not to get excited about serving kids. But then in addition to that, we're united in the fact that we have the means, we have the tools, we have a desire to help all families who need our help and all school partners that want our help. And we want to not only get the word out and get that message out to the families and to the schools that need us, but we want to do it in a way that's sensitive and that's respectful of what's going on in that community. And so because we're united in that, we're all moving in the same direction. We do regular care calls to all of our franchisees. As I said, there's really not a lot of red tape or bureaucracy in this company. Every single franchisee has my cell phone. We are talking all of the time, and if there's a concern, we hear about it directly. There's no need to go about any roundabout system. They can come directly to the management team, and that hasn't changed. If anything, that's gotten stronger.
Susan, what happens when we do shift back? Children go back to school. I know your point, and I think it's a good one, is there's going to be a pent-up demand over the summer and the fall for children to catch up. But is it possible that the future Sylvan is a dual track, digital plus in-person centers?
Yeah, it definitely is. You know, you asked that on the perfect day. We've been spending all day on our reopening guides. We started writing reopening guides right as closure started to happen because we knew we were going to need them. And so reopening guides look different for every community. As you know, we have a national plan, the phased-in system for reopening businesses. And then every state has the autonomy to decide what part of that they'll adopt or add. And depending on the health situation in different communities, every county can make additional changes to that. And so, and then we do business in multiple countries, US and Canada primarily. And so the short answer to your question is that it's a little bit complicated and it looks different everywhere. But the one thing that's for sure is that we have the ability to do virtual. We've proven in a very short time that families love it and that our effectiveness in terms of the outcomes for the student have not changed. If anything, they've been sustained even through the change in platform and delivery. And that there's a lot of demand and desire for our service. And so because of all of those things, that doesn't change. That piece doesn't change. We now have tested something in an accelerated way. It wasn't the way we wanted to pilot if we had had a choice, virtual instruction. But I'm glad we did it. And we've been making some modifications to our technology as a result of that to make sure that this is a sustainable model, not just for situations like this. But what it's done essentially is it's increased our reach. And it's gotten the franchisees very comfortable in a very short amount of time with change and with the way that we adopt this new technology and use it and leverage it in our communities. So I say that stays, and the pace at which that rolls out and what that looks like with distancing requirements and rules that are coming down from health agencies, that might look a little different in every community for a while. But the core system is definitely a new suite of services. It's been a pleasant revelation.
Sarah, for new folks that are looking to join Sylvan's system, they're going to look at a few things. Obviously, the fundamentals of business clearly, but they're also how the franchisor behave in this time, and what is the validation of the franchise owner. Like sitting here and listening to Susan talk about the future and how much time and effort from a corporate standpoint is going into protecting the business that you've invested your life savings into. How does that make you feel? Does they elevate your excitement? Does it increase your buy-in to the brand? Like, how are you feeling when you hear stuff like that?
Yeah, so the great thing is, yes, it's always exciting to me, but the great thing is that I know that about Susan, I know that about John, I know that about our executive team and our franchisor as a whole, right? They have committed that regardless of the pandemic. That is just how they have lived out what they do. So it excites me. It makes me, again, proud to be a part of a company like that that's supporting us. And it's just, again, it's in tangent. What we've asked as a franchisee, they've responded and said, yes, we're doing that, we're working on it, or we'll get it for you. It's never been a, well, I don't know if you need that. It's always a, yep, we're already either one step in front of you or with you, or we're coming alongside you. So it's very exciting. I think if you're to make this level of commitment, to pour investment, life, blood, sweat, tears, all of it into a company, that you have someone, that's going to be as strong of a partner as what we have. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything stronger than the support that we have and the vision that we can all have together. It's not one person's vision. It's not theirs versus ours. It's ours together, moving our company, our brand together as a whole.
Yeah, I think those are great points. I would challenge and question whether it's a business, large corporation, franchise system, how many brands really have that vision, and then really to see the integration here, which is a shared culture where there's a culture transfer and there's culture buy-in by the franchisees. So, I mean, and it sounds trite or simple, but everything that you ladies are talking about is an offshoot of that shared culture, and it's amazing to see.
As we take this final spin, Susan, I'll start with you. Just final thoughts as you want to wrap up our discussion. What do you want the world to know about where things stand today?
I have nothing but optimism and pride about our system and the future of our business. We have a group of very hardworking business owners who've adapted and transformed how we run our business and didn't skip a beat. They did that very, very quickly. They work through their own personal concerns, fears, uncertainty, care for their own families and their communities. And they push through all of that, and we're standing. We're that tough team that is still standing, and I feel like we'll be fine. We'll not only be fine, I think we're positioned to thrive as a result of how we've been tested and what we've done.
Love it. And Sarah, final thoughts?
Yeah, again, to what Susan has said, we've been tested and we've proven ourselves to be able to come alongside the education in our nation and support these families through the trials that they're walking through. And we're going to continue to pivot to what we need to continue to be there. And there's, all the things that are in front of us. Education has to remain a priority of all of us. We had the ability to pivot because we had the education to pivot. We have to continue to remain plugged into how can we best support the education system in our country going forward. And I know that we're going to remain true as Sylvan to be able to be there to do that.
Love it. And Charles, final thoughts?
It's just reflecting backwards, right? So if a company's not mission driven and committed to it, are they building out the digital assets that they're now relying on? So I mean, it just all goes together. And then Susan's point, I think, is a great one for a Friday, which is tough times don't last. So when there is a big battle, I'm going to Texas. I'll follow Susan over there because they don't last. And you're right, Susan. It is the team, right? And you need that tough team. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. And, everybody that's watching this is trying to find little tools to help them navigate this. And if you're watching this, when you move financials to the side and just focus on doing good, eventually that's going to take care of itself too. So plenty of lessons to be learned, plenty of advice here to help us all navigate through this. We appreciate both of you guys spending some time with us on this Friday. Yeah, we wish you the best of luck as you continue to navigate this, and look forward to hearing the stories on the other side on how you guys are both dominating. So thank you again.
Thank you both.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye now.